Ukraine has agreed to hold talks with Russia on the Belarus border as Vladimir Putin ordered his defense chiefs to put the country's nuclear deterrence forces on high alert. International tensions are already soaring over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Moscow has the world's second largest arsenal of nuclear weapons.
Уважаемые коллеги, вы видите, что западные страны предпринимают не только недружественные действия в отношении нашей страны в экономической сфере, я имею в виду нелегитимные санкции, о которых все хорошо знают, но высшие должностные лица ведущих стран НАТО допускают и агрессивные высказывания в адрес нашей страны. Поэтому приказываю министру обороны и начальнику генерального штаба перевести силы сдерживания российской армии в особый режим несения боевого дежурства.
The European Union has now announced new and wide-ranging sanctions against Russia, closing its airspace to Russian aircraft and banning Russia's state media outlets broadcasting in the bloc. For the first time, the EU will also finance the purchase and delivery of weapons and equipment to a country under attack.
For their country, European Union steps up once more its support for Ukraine and the sanctions against the aggressor that is Putin's Russia. For the first time ever, the European Union will finance the purchase and delivery of weapons and other equipment to a country that is under attack. This is a watershed moment. HRVP Borrell will present to you the proposal in a few minutes. At the same time, we're strengthening once more our sanctions against the Kremlin and its collaborator, Lukashenko's regime. First, we are shutting down the EU airspace for Russians. We're proposing a prohibition on all Russian-owned, Russian-registered and Russian-controlled aircraft. These aircraft will no more be able to land in, take off, or overfly the territory of the European Union. This will apply to any plane, owned, chartered, or otherwise controlled by a Russian legal or natural person. So let me be very clear. Our airspace will be closed to every Russian plane, and that includes the private jets of oligarchs too. Second, in another unprecedented step, we will ban in the European Union the Kremlin's media machine. The state-owned Russia Today and Sputnik, as well as their subsidiaries, will no longer be able to spread their lies to justify Putin's war and to sow division in our union. So we are developing tools to ban that toxic and harmful disinformation in Europe. And third, we will target the other aggressor.
Jyoti Hare, who's been reporting from downtown Kiev for NDTV, joining us at this point. Jyoti, enormous developments today. Ukraine finally agreeing to talks or so is being reported right now, quoting the Ukrainian president. But at the same time, we have this very concerning news of Russia, issuing this nuclear alert, as it were.
Yes, exactly. And also, although Ukraine has agreed to negotiate with Russia in Belarus, there still hasn't been a specific location set. So this morning, the president of Ukraine had indicated that he was absolutely not willing to go to the negotiation table with Russia in Belarus, that any other location would be okay. And this afternoon, we've learned that Zelensky has agreed to have a meeting in Belarus, but the exact location isn't clear. From what we hear, somewhere near the Pripyat river that runs through Ukraine into Belarus. There's a real fear that there could be a trap somewhere here, because we know that for the past few weeks, Putin has said a lot of things that he was and wasn't going to do, and clearly all of them were lies. So it's I can understand that this would be a very fearful situation to step into over the border into Belarus, where there have been missiles fired from into Ukraine.
Jyoti, how do we read the fact that 4 days on, Ukraine's major cities still haven't fallen to Russian forces? Kiev is still standing, as is Kharkiv.
That really is incredible. And I think it's just the first day was disbelief. And then for the second day onwards, especially when Ukraine's president, put on the military gear, went out there and said, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm fighting with you. So you also arm up and get out on the streets. That really did something for the morale. So I can tell you right now that just west of here, about, let's say, 10 kilometers west of here, there was gunfire back and forth all day yesterday. And my contact today told me that the university students there have spent all morning or today helping the military there dig trenches.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, meanwhile, is holding a meeting to discuss the safe return of Indian students. The Foreign Secretary is making a presentation on that issue, according to sources. Around 16,000 Indian nationals, most of them students, have been trapped in Ukraine, and over the last few days, students have been evacuated on flights from Hungary, Poland, the Slovak Republic and Romania, nations which share a border with Ukraine. Many have been trudging miles in the freezing cold in order to reach the borders.
A sigh of relief for hundreds of families as Indians stranded in war-torn Ukraine return home. The mission evacuation named Operation Ganga by the government. On Sunday, 3 more Air India flights carrying over 700 Indians reached Delhi, 2 from Romanian capital Bucharest and 1 from Budapest in Hungary. For students like Falak Ansari, Ayman Mansoori and Prerna Gupta studying at Bukovanian State University in Chernivtsi city in western Ukraine, the last few days have been harrowing. They are relieved to be back home, but not before travelling for hours by bus and on foot to reach the Romanian border.
We crossed the border and came to Romania, and from there Indian government sponsored the flight.
So I'm hearing that a lot of students are stuck there for several hours there at the border. Yes. What exactly is happening?
We were also stuck for like 3 hours because the border are jammed because Ukrainian people are also immigrating to Romania.
For Supriya Patel and Komal Singh, leaving their Ukrainian friends and teachers behind was perhaps as hard as their arduous journey to the evacuation point.
My mom was crying for a whole day. Now she's happy, she's relaxed, we back to India. But the people over there, the civilians, they are suffering a lot. So much. We feel bad for them. We feel bad for our teachers, our university. They were crying in online classes that we never know that we'll meet again or not.
Thousands of Indians, however, still remain stuck in Ukraine, waiting to be evacuated amid raging conflict.
We are waiting at the border of Romania for more than 24 hours. My friends are waiting here. We are just sitting on the grass in field. We are just sleeping below the sky with nothing, no protection. We are feeling so cold. Its temperature is -2 or -3 degrees Celsius.
At the Polish border too, an unending wait for students.
और हम लोग यहाँ पे फंसे हुए हैं, यहाँ पे कोई व्यवस्था नहीं है। हम लोग पोलैंड बॉर्डर पे 30 किलोमीटर पैदल चल कर गए, वहाँ पे पता चला वहाँ कोई व्यवस्था नहीं है। फिर वहाँ से बोला है कि तुम लोग वापस चले जाओ जहाँ से आए हो। फिर 30 किलोमीटर चल के वापस आए।
And there are students who are stuck in the conflict zone like Kharkiv, where Russian forces have reportedly entered. These students are appealing to the government for help.
मैं अभी भी बेसमेंट में फंसी हुई हूँ और अभी भी मैं खाकर नहीं हूँ और इस टाइम जो है मेरे को बहुत ज़्यादा शेलिंग की आवाज़ आ रही है और हमें नहीं पता कि हमारे पास कब तक सफिशिएंट सप्लाई प्रेजेंट होगी खाने के लिए। तो प्लीज़ मैं गवर्नमेंट को रिक्वेस्ट करती हूँ कि जल्दी से जल्दी यहाँ तक पहुँचा जाए, हमें यहाँ से निकाला जाए।
मेरी बेटी नवरोज़ कौर खारकिव यूनिवर्सिटी पढ़ती सी और अंडरग्राउंड रह रही 2-3 दिन तो उन्होंने खाना भी एक टाइम का मिल रहा है और बिजली भी किसी टाइम बंद हो सकती है। गवर्नमेंट ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹਦਾ ਬੰਦੋਬਸਤ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ, ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਲਿਆਉਣ ਦਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਬੰਦੋਬਸਤ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ, ਸਾਡੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਵੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਾਹੌਲ ਪੂਰਾ
The Indian Embassy in Ukraine has urged all Indians to move towards the western part of the country for evacuation. The Prime Minister said that the government is continuously working to ensure safe evacuation of all Indians.
ऑपरेशन गंगा चलाकर हम यूक्रेन से भी हजारों भारतीयों को वापस ला रहे हैं। हमारे जो बेटा बेटी अभी भी वहां हैं, उनको पूरी सुरक्षा के साथ अपने घर पहुंचाने के लिए सरकार दिन रात काम कर रही है।
Tired, exhausted, but glad to be back home is the response of all of these Indians who have finally reached home. Operation Ganga will continue till the last man is rescued from the war torn Ukraine. However, thousands of Indians still remain stranded in different parts of the country with limited supplies and escalating tensions. So the execution of this plan remains the biggest concern for all. With camera person Xavier Thomas, I'm Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
And earlier today, the Foreign Secretary gave details of that multi-pronged evacuation plan that's being called Operation Ganga to repatriate Indian citizens in Ukraine.
Border crossings to Hungary and Romania are functioning. However, the exit point to Poland is generally clogged from what we can see now due to lacks of Ukrainian and foreign nationals trying to leave the country from that point. So this is a problem area, and I'll come down to that as we go along. Those who are near the borders with Hungary, Romania and Slovak Republic are guided towards their respective border points in phases.
A mother and a daughter separated by a war and thousands of kilometers consoled and comforted each other on TV. Shreya Sunil Kumar, an Indian student in Kiev, said she could hear bombings and gunfire from the bunker where she is taking shelter. Her mother in Bengaluru exhorted her to be strong. Smriti Durgam wants the Indian Embassy now to organize transport at the earliest. Smita Durgam, Shreya's mother, is with us as well. Smita ji, I can't imagine what you must be going through right now. What is it that you would like to ask Shreya at this point, and what are your hopes at this point also?
Good evening, ma'am. So the hope is Indian government is going to get all the students back to India at some point of time, but it's only a matter of time. It takes 1 or 2 days more. Shreya, I know you are going through a hardest phase of your life. Be strong at this point, right? And along with you, you have so many other friends. So all of you has to stick together. And you have to walk out of this, right? It's just a big lesson that you have learned here, right? And you are going to come out of this successfully. We want you all back safe and sound. So just keep your guts right and pray for God to come back safe.
Shreya, what are authorities telling you at this point? Is there some sort of time schedule that's been given about when you might expect to move to one of Ukraine's borders, and do you know where you're going to be evacuated from?
The embassy hasn't contacted us. The head of our hostel, his name is Shashank, and there has been no contact with him, and he's with us itself. The embassy has given us an advisory in the morning as of 27th, asking us to go to the nearby railway station. Let me tell you one thing, the railway station, there were shootings heard yesterday in the railway station, and the railway station is flooded. There are no seats left, and we have to apparently still pay for our seats, and we don't know the cost of the seats yet. I just heard a shelling right now. I just heard a bombing somewhere. So the situation right here for us, we cannot move out. The curfew is still on. We are not able to move out. No grocery store is open. And I don't know, like, if the embassy does provide us a bus for everybody of us, we are over 100 students here, ma'am. How do you expect us to go out in groups of 20? That is just not possible. So if the embassy, it's a request to the embassy, if you can provide us a bus Come on, man. Indian Embassy can do so much. At least a minimum bus to go to the nearby railway station. That's all we are asking. Because here, no bus, no cab, nothing is working. You don't expect us to walk 20 kilometers, right? The temperature is -4 outside. What do you expect us to do? It's not possible.
Shreya, your sister is here as well with your mother. Is there anything you would like to say to Shreya right now? I'd like to give the last sort of comment on the show to you. Go ahead.
I would just like to say that I'm going to be back soon. And it's okay. I think we can manage. I'm that strong enough to manage all this. And you're just making me very emotional right now. So that's it. I'm going to be back.
Of course you are, Shreya. Thanks so much.
Yes, baby. Yeah, you will be back and we are waiting to see you.
Yeah. And we'll see you reunited very soon. Thank you all for speaking with us at what must be such a difficult moment for you. Thank you.
My only request, ma'am, to the embassy is whatever plan you are making, make it fast. I can understand your problems. It's at a very high level, but at least provide some groceries, food supplies to the people who are stuck in the bunkers.
Time for a very quick break. Coming up next, now 5 out of the 7 phases of Uttar Pradesh have completed voting. We'll get you details in a moment. Uttar Pradesh voted in the 5th phase of the state's massive 7-phase elections today. Areas like Ayodhya, where the Ram temple is being constructed, Prayagraj, home to the Sangam, and Amethi, the former Congress bastion, saw voting in this phase. In the 2017 elections, the BJP and its allies had won 50 of the 61 seats that went to the polls today.
With today's vote in Uttar Pradesh, elections have ended in nearly 3/4 of the state's 403 assembly seats. This was Temple Town Ayodhya's first big election after the start of the Ram temple construction, following the 2019 Supreme Court verdict on the Ram Mandir Babri Masjid title suit, an issue that dominated the political discourse here for decades. Ayodhya has 5 assembly seats, all are currently with the BJP. The biggest contest here was on the city seat, with incumbent MLA Ved Prakash Gupta up against the SP's Pawan Pandey, a 2012 giant killer who had defeated a 5-term BJP MLA back then.
विकास की काम किए हैं, विकास प्राथमिकता रही है हमारी योगी जी की, माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी की, और अयोध्या के विकास के साथ पूरे प्रदेश का विकास हुआ है। और राम मंदिर तो हमारी आस्था का प्रश्न है, और राम मंदिर मुद्दा नहीं है कि आप राम मंदिर का इस्तेमाल करते हैं वोटों। राम मंदिर का कोई इस्तेमाल की बात ही नहीं है। राम मंदिर, और वो राम मंदिर बनना आवश्यकता सुप्रीम कोर्ट का फैसला है।
हमारे लिए प्रभु श्री राम या बजरंग बली राजनीति का विषय नहीं है, वो हमारे लिए आस्था का प्रतीक है, वो हमारे देवता हैं, भगवान हैं। हम उनसे शक्ति मांगते हैं, ताकत मांगते हैं, उनसे प्रार्थना करते हैं, हम उनके नाम पे वोट नहीं मांगते।
We are in Ayodhya and we are noticing one problem from phase 1, from Meerut to Ayodhya now. Names are missing from voter list. These sadhu sants, they will not be able to vote because their name is not there in the voter list.
ऐसे कई साधुओं के यहाँ की लिस्टें ही गायब हैं वोटों की। और दूसरी बात क्या है कि उनका जो वोट पड़ रहे हैं वो मृतक लोगों के नाम है।
जब 5 वर्ष पहले चुनाव का वो सर्वे हो रहा था, उसमें जो है कि हमने नाम दिया, 3 गुरु भाइयों का नाम, एक का भी नहीं आया।
The other big battle in UP's Prayagraj, home to the holy Sangam or the confluence of the Ganga and Yamuna rivers, but also Uttar Pradesh's coaching hub, where this police crackdown on students protesting against alleged irregularities in a railway exam this January has put the spotlight on jobs or the lack of them under the Yogi Adityanath government.
बेरोजगारी मुद्दा हो तो जरूरी बनेगा ना, जब बेरोजगारी मुद्दा ही नहीं है तो जरूरी कैसे बनेगा? मुद्दा नहीं है मतलब PMI का आप आंकड़ा देखिए, उत्तर प्रदेश में 3% है, और जहाँ पे पंजाब जैसे में भी
अभी पोलिंग हुई है उसमें 9% था, तो मुद्दा कैसे हुआ?
And what's your assessment on Prayagraj?
Well, 12 out of 12 will win.
सिराथू की लड़ाई के बारे में सिराथू
कोई लड़ाई नहीं हुआ, कमल खिल रहा है सब जगह।
नहीं, आपको नहीं लगता है कि जातीय समीकरण जो है वो
कोई नहीं, मैंने सवाल का जवाब दे दिया ना, कोई जातिवाद नहीं है, केवल विकासवाद है।
आपको लगता है
विकासवाद, राष्ट्रवाद।
One of those areas polling today in the 5th phase of the Uttar Pradesh assembly election is Amethi. Amethi, of course, used to be a Congress bastion. Rahul Gandhi was the Lok Sabha MP here before 2019, and then he lost to the BJP's Smriti Irani. So for the Congress, the battle is to regain what was once a stronghold. But in the predominantly rural area, the biggest issue, stray cattle. Asked before the 5th phase polling, the UP government issued an unsigned press release claiming the problem of stray cattle in UP was overhyped and that very few stray cattle were on the roads or in fields. The release came after multiple media reports suggesting farmers were angry with the government for not solving the problem in 5 years, affecting their crop and livelihood.
नहीं सर, ये झूठ बात है। गौशाला कहीं कुछ नहीं चल रही है, जो चल रही है सब कागजों में है। आप कभी भी आइएगा, सड़क पर 200, 250 पशु चलते रहते हैं, दौड़ते रहते हैं। कितने लोगों की यहाँ एक्सीडेंट हो गई पशुओं से, और बहुत लोग परेशान हैं। उसमें किसी भी धर्म के लोग परेशान है, ये बात नहीं कोई एक व्यक्ति परेशान है।
राष्ट्रवाद के ऊपर सारे मुद्दे फेल हैं। राष्ट्रवाद का चुनाव हो रहा है, भारत के निर्माण के लिए चुनाव हो रहा है।
प्रदेश जी ये कह रहे हैं कि भाई क्या कहते हैं, राष्ट्रवाद का चुनाव में हम क्या करें, जब हमारी फसल ही नहीं बचेगी और हमको नौकरी नहीं मिलेगी तो हम राष्ट्रवाद का करेंगे।
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। किसानों के किसी ने मुद्दा, कभी किसानों के सामने कोई मुद्दा है नहीं। जानवर कोई मुद्दा नहीं है, इसको तो मुद्दा बनाने वाले लोग रहे हैं। ये जो राजनीतिक दल है जानवरों को ले आकर के सड़कों पे छोड़ दे रहे हैं। पब्लिक को इसकी कोई समस्या नहीं। कोई चुनाव जब शुरू हुआ तो जानवर कोई मुद्दा ही नहीं बचा।
The UP election now moves to the eastern part for the last 2 phases. With Sanket Upadhyay, Saurabh Shukla, Vineet Kumar and Rajesh Gupta, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.